It is not about what is real or true. It is about what is useful. Useful things are things which serve the ultimate inherent human interest of happiness and well-being. Reality is only worth understanding insofar as understanding it is useful to us. When we talk about worldviews, ideas, and systems, it doesn't matter what is real. It doesn't necessarily even matter what is accurate. It matters what is useful. Being useful is the primary purpose worldviews, ideas, and systems have. Being accurate and grounded in reality is only important when it is useful to us. The truth only matters insofar as it is useful. Sometimes it is useful and sometimes it is not. The one thing that is always important is the usefulness, the utility of something. Our understandings ultimately exist to serve us, and that can lead to a diverse range of understandings and ideas. Sometimes it leads to us understanding reality, and sometimes it leads to us shunning reality because doing so is in our interest. Any argument for the importance of understanding reality and truth will base itself on usefulness. It will appeal to usefulness, and in doing so, give away the fact that usefulness is the ultimate foundation which decides the value of a view, not truth, not accuracy. Usefulness will be its foundational justification. Usefulness is the answer to the question. Usefulness decides whether the view is good or bad, justified or unjustified. Why should we care? Simply ask that question, and you will always get to usefulness. Therefore, its fundamental core is usefulness, not understanding reality itself. In arguing that reality is inherently valuable, you have to abandon that argument by appealing to usefulness as a foundational justification. Because usefulness is the foundational justification which decides on the value of all else, it is logical that we should put usefulness first as the primary concern and the one which decides upon the value of all else. If reality and truth is worth understanding because it is useful, we can conclude that if understanding reality is not useful, there is no reason to care about understanding it. Usefulness is the foundational justification, so if you take that away, understanding reality is no longer justified or a goal worth pursuing. Sometimes understanding reality is useful because it allows us to interact with it in ways which improve our well-being and make us happier. An example of this would be understanding the nature of a disease so we can fight it, or understanding the nature of our bodies so we can undergo life-saving surgery and take life-saving medicine. Sometimes understanding reality is not useful because it just makes our lives more miserable and unhappy. An example of this would be a highly pessimistic view which may align more closely with reality, but just makes us less happy and more miserable than we need to be, with no compensating gain. We can intentionally hold views which are at odds with reality just because they make us happier and are therefore more useful. I think doing this is not just acceptable, but desirable and rational. We need to learn to not ask if something is real, but instead if it is useful. Ask not what is true, but what is useful. I don't care what morality, for example, is real. I don't care what morality is true. I care what one is useful. So next time you are considering questions relating to reality, truth, and usefulness, ask not if something is real, but instead if it is useful. Usefulness is the core justification and the most important one for deciding on the desirability or undesirability of our ideas, understandings, and systems. Truth and reality only matter insofar as they are useful. Any justification other than usefulness will inevitably end up falling back on usefulness to justify itself. Simply ask, why should I care? This question will see everyone fall back on the justification of usefulness eventually. Ultimately, desirability is determined by usefulness rather than accuracy or truth. Accuracy and truth are only desirable insofar as they are useful. Good luck justifying anything without appealing to its usefulness. Usefulness is the fundamental and foundational measurement of these things.